Imagine having to work almost 2 years to get paid what your white male colleague got paid in 1 year alone. Imagine having to work twice as long. Well, for Latinas in the United States, that's the reality. On average, Latinas in the US are paid 46% less than white men and 26% less than white women. And this year, Latinas were the lowest paid group of women across any race. Many assume that Latinas face a pay gap only because they're concentrated in lower paying roles. But even in an identical job, Latinas are still paid less than white men. On Latina Equal Pay Day, we asked some of the most powerful Latinas across the United States about their experience in the workplace, how the pay gap has impacted their lives, and what companies can do to close the gap and support Latinas in the workplace.
In 2020, I was working in the health space, and for obvious reasons, business was booming. My workload quadrupled and I needed immediate help. My VP created a new position 2 levels below mine and brought someone from another team to fill it. I was the initial approver on all job offers and noticed that this individual would be earning more than I did and significantly more than others at their same level. Even though they had 0 experience, I would have to teach them from scratch and closely supervise their work. I immediately pushed back and advocated for both myself and others. And the only response I got was that leadership did not see any inequity. Once I realized that they weren't going to do anything about leveling the playing field, I decided to choose myself.
Sometimes I get asked, what did I do in my career to try to overcome the broken wrong? And I think there's 3 tips that I would share with others that worked for me. The first one is find an advocate. And this is more than just a mentor who's helping you grow skills in your job, but someone who is willing to speak out on your behalf when you're not in the room. And by finding people who really believe in you and are speaking for you, that gives you the edge to try to get the right assignments that get you the right promotions. The second tip is ask for what you want. For a long time, I assumed that people would see my hard work and immediately ladder up to thinking, I was promotional material. And I found quickly that it doesn't work that way. I really had to put down on a piece of paper, go meet with my boss, share with mentors and advocates, this is where I want my career to go. I want to be a CMO, and then ask for help. What are the experiences I need to get there? And once I was able to start to articulate my vision and sharing it with others, people kept me in mind when the right assignments were coming up. And that definitely helped me get experiences, which I will share tip number 3 is take a risk. Sometimes playing it safe doesn't get you noticed, but working on a high-profile project definitely can. And just by showing you can knock a big project out of the park actually puts you in the pool of candidacy to get promoted and demonstrates that you're ready for that next step.
When I have been targeted because of it, or when I've been questioned because of my accent, I always get back to this person and I say, well, I wish you have a second language and you speak it as well as I speak English, because I run an organization and I deal with the highest decision makers and they understand me pretty well.
There is so much impact because of that pay gap, certainly to community, but to family. Think about, that loss in income that should be, better reflected in someone's family well-being, in wealth creation for the next generation. Latinas and Latinos aren't should be in a better position to make sure that they're building a nest egg for that next generation, just like anybody else, or making sure, they have investments and funds to, purchase a home, invest in college, and also invest in the market. And this pay gap is really holding back Latinas and their families financially.
I think the best thing that I've done early on in my career is align myself with a male ally. Even since I started a radio show in my teens, I had a male colleague who confided in me how much they were paying him and that I should ask at least for the same. And that's happened in other jobs, and even as an advisor, even as a board member, having that white ally that is willing to share with you what is that compensation that they are getting to make sure you have that in check is incredibly valuable.
First, recognize your biases. From accent bias to affinity bias to maternal bias, Latinas are facing all sorts of biases in the workplace. It's important to educate yourself on those biases, and one tool you can utilize is the 50 Ways to Fight Bias program here at Lean In. My personal story with maternal bias is this. I went out on maternity leave with my first child, and at that time I was working in a sales environment, and I had a white male colleague who worked with a similar audience. And while I was on leave, he shared with my leadership that as a Latina, I may not want to come back to the workplace, and I may be more focused on taking care of my children. Please note that I didn't share that information with my leadership. So when I came back to work 6 weeks later, my work was finished. My job had been given to him, and I had a different job in a different functional area after working on some high-level projects for about 5 years, and that felt terrible. Another thing you can do is to debias your hiring and promotion processes. One way to do that is to establish clear criteria for hiring, performance reviews, and promotion. You should also consider including more voices in your recruitment process. If you want to bring a more diverse slate of individuals into your organization, they need to see themselves represented. It doesn't feel very good as a Latina to walk into a panel interview where everyone is, for example, a white male. Lastly, it's important to invest time in ensuring a diverse recruiting process, and sometimes it means that you need to take more time to reach out to those communities and to intentionally bring more people in.